somebody asked a question just about kind of reflecting on the season, and I'll tell you, as someone who's been around this place now for almost 30 years, and this was one of those years, right? This was one of those years that will go down in the record books that our fans will be talking about 20 years from now, 30 years from now, for a lot of different reasons. I thought to being able to tie this season in with the 100th anniversary of this incredible building was just so poetic in so many ways. That Michigan game in particular will live with me for the rest of my life, and I think many of our fans felt the same way. I thought that the chance to be on a more prominent stage early on, of course we jumped out to a good start, and so that allowed us to get on to CBS, it allowed us to get on to NBC, it gave us a platform to show the country, college football fans, that the University of Illinois is playing football at a high level. I want to thank our fans again, the chance to have 2 home sellouts for the first time since 2009. Our average attendance this year was up nearly 55,000, and up to, it wasn't up by 55,000, up to almost 55,000 was our highest since 2009. In the last 3 years, that represents growth of almost 20,000 fans per game. It's the highest growth rate amongst our peers in the country. Just can't thank our fans enough for what a difference that has made in terms of the environment that we've been able to create inside Memorial Stadium. And then that goes beyond what you feel outside of the stadium, and we've been saying for some time now, and I think our fans are starting to believe it, we really truly have the best tailgating environment in the Big Ten. Between the geography, the open parking lots, the proximity to the stadium, the things that we're able to program in Lot 31, Grange Grove, the new tailgating community that we have here on the east lawn of State Farm Center, it really is starting to come together in a lot of really exciting ways, and just felt like all those pieces came together. We had great kickoff times this year. We had great weather this year. Everything culminated in a moment that gave us the chance to go out and have one of those special seasons. And again, can't thank our fans enough for all that they did to support this program and to participate in such a memorable year. We are, of course, accepting now deposits for 2025. We made some announcements about that here over the last few days. I want to encourage our fans to get in early and become a part of this football program. The schedule will be released on Wednesday. I think you have all seen that announcement. As Coach mentioned, we've got an exciting slate of home games, including some of the big brands in college football, USC and Ohio State being foremost amongst them. But I hope our fans felt the difference in the building. I hope they understand the impact that they can make by filling up that stadium. It makes a difference in terms of our on-field performance. It makes a difference in terms of our recruiting. And I think it makes a difference in terms of the experience that our fans enjoy. It's more fun for them to be in a full building than it is to be in one that's half full. In terms of the announcements we made last week around the pricing, I hope folks saw that we will continue to be one of the most fan-friendly environments in the Big Ten. Our ticket pricing in the Horseshoe and the East Balcony offers the cheapest season ticket in the Big Ten. We want to make sure that our fans recognize that. We never want price to be a barrier for our people to get into the building. And even our seats on the 50-yard line will remain among the best value of comparable seats amongst our peers across the conference. And so we're proud of the strategy we put together around that pricing, and again want to encourage everybody to become part of this football program, get involved as we head into the 2025 season. Last thing I'll say, and then open up for questions. Relative to the bowl specifically, we have developed a central website, fightingillini.com/Citrus Bowl. Would encourage all of our fans to go there and learn more about the opportunity to join us in Orlando. We are now accepting ticket requests, again, on our website. Those requests will be accepted until Friday, December 13th at 4 p.m. And so we want to make sure our fans know what that timeline looks like. Everybody can get their requests submitted, and then we'll follow up with fulfillment after that. And then we are offering, as we typically do, tour travel packages. Again, information available on our website. Will include 2 nights of accommodations at one of our official team hotels in Orlando, There will be a welcome event. We'll have a pregame tailgate and game day transportation as well. And so we had a great turnout in Tampa 2 years ago when we were in the ReliaQuest game, and certainly with our alumni base in Florida, with the weather, the opportunities that Orlando provides for families, we hope that our fans will come out in large numbers to support us at a great bowl destination. So with that, let me stop and open it up for questions.
I know it's complex and a lot goes into it, but what has been the formula for Reb Bielema to elevate the program and get to the point where he's at now?
Well, it starts with him. You know, as we look at some of the things that we've been able to do, not just in football, but in many of our sports now, the formula is not a secret. The execution can be very difficult. The formula is you find great leadership and you support them with strong resources, and good things tend to happen. And certainly football is the premier example of that. You find a fantastic head coach, you support them with resources. The resources required in football are obviously exponentially bigger than they are in any other sport that we have. But the way that he has worked to provide opportunities for our student athletes, it goes on to the staff. He talked a little bit about the assistants he's been able to put in this building. I've been so impressed with the network of people who are responsive to him, people who want to come work for him, who see the opportunity to work here in the Smith Center at the University of Illinois as a meaningful opportunity in their careers. And then the recruiting side and the player development piece, they all have to come together at the right time. And he has just been an exceptional leader in every respect.
To that point, would it be fair to suggest that you're trying to come up with packages for a Barry Lunny, a Aaron Henry, a Robbie Disher, or any other valuable assistant for retainment this offseason?
Sure. We do that every offseason. We're always going to sit down with Coach at the end of each year, talk through every person on his staff, a staff that's now grown to be several dozen long, and starting, of course, as he mentioned, with the coordinators, but down through the most entry-level graduate assistant. We're going to talk about each person on his staff, what we need to be doing financially and otherwise in order to retain them, if that is his interest, and so we're in the midst of those conversations now.
Like going into today, where you get Citrus Bowl reps at several games, the second half of the season, and every projection was Citrus Bowl. I mean, was it still a different feeling to get like the official invitation?
The official invitation was nice. Yeah, certainly we all understand how the bowl process works. We've been carefully monitoring the CFP voting to see if we were going to have 4 Big Ten teams into the field. We knew as long as that happened that we were feeling pretty solid in that 5th position, that first non-CFP bowl position. But you never know until you know. And so today, as the CFP rankings were revealed and we saw 4 teams in the 12-team field, felt confident that this would be our landing point. And when the phone rang, it was a welcome conversation.
Josh, how the pairings are decided? Do you have any say in that at all? Is that all league TV? How this came up with you in South Carolina? Was that any? Do you have any input in that at all, or just they tell you?
No, we have the opportunity to interact with the bowl reps when they come on their visits. We have the chance to provide information about our program, about our university, to talk about the fact that we have 17 Floridians on our roster, the most of any school in the Big Ten, to talk about the season that we've had, to talk about the fact that we haven't been to this particular bowl game in almost 35 years, and the appetite that our fans will have to participate in the postseason. So there is the chance to have a lot of that interaction with reps from the bowl game up to and including the CEO and others who are directly involved in the selection process. But at the end of the day, those are choices that they make, and so we try and put our best foot forward, but they have to make those decisions.
Josh, Brett talked about 6 wins bowl game should be the standard here. You've obviously seen it when that's been a tough bar to get to. So how do you find the balance between reflecting on where this has gone, but also understanding that success maybe breeds new standards for the program?
Well, I think you touched on it, and I've said this publicly in some other settings. We have to make sure that we allow ourselves a moment to be happy, right? We have to look around for a minute, recognize where we've come from, where we are, enjoy this experience. These bowl games are supposed to be fun. It's a tremendous opportunity, as I mentioned, for our program for so many different reasons. But in the next breath, we also have to make sure that we're not confusing happiness with complacency. We can't ever accept that this is as high as we will go. The expectation is that we will continue to push the envelope, that we will be competing for Big Ten and national championships. The margins just continue to be so thin. And you think even about this year, our game at Penn State, some of you were there, we're competing deep into the fourth quarter with a team that finished in the top 10 in the country, that had a chance to win the Big Ten championship in a really good football game yesterday. And obviously the breaks didn't go our way down the stretch. And then, the Minnesota game, we're in that right down to the wire. We've got a great drive there at the end of the game to win. Some would say if a call goes a different way, we might have a 1st and 10 deep in their territory. Things happen. And now the flip side is we win some big-time games against Purdue and Rutgers that came down to the wire as well. And so we know that sort of the sports gods giveth and taketh away, and we understand how this works. But my point is just the margins are really thin, and there's an opportunity now with the expanded field for us to knock on that door more years than not. And with the guy we've got in the corner office down there, I like our chances. And so it's been a fun process. We're really happy where we are, but we've got a lot more work in front of us.
A lot of things converge this time of year, Josh, NIL and the portal, and then soon you'll be throwing in the revenue sharing piece to that. Has there really been any more clarity on any of that stuff, about how resources might be allocated in the future?
Just what we've talked about previously. I think everybody's seen a lot of the reports. We're expecting the revenue share to be about $20.5 million for next year. We're in the process now of allocating those resources out amongst our teams, and then working with our coaches to determine how those dollars will be funneled down through to the players, trying to be as strategic as we can be in how we allocate not just the revenue share dollars, but new scholarship opportunities and everything else that the settlement opens for us. And so it's unlike any moment in history. The point of the lawsuit was to provide the schools with a lot of autonomy to make strategic decisions on an isolated basis. And so that's what we're doing. We're working really hard to think through how to do this in the most aggressive, thoughtful way that we can. I don't expect it will be static. I imagine that how we do it this first year may look very different from how we do it in year 3. When you do something that nobody's ever done before, we're going to continue to learn as we go and adapt. But we see this, as we have all of these changes over the last 4 or 5 years, as an opportunity for the University of Illinois, and we're going to work very aggressively to take advantage of it.
Josh, how do you hope revenue sharing impacts your football program? What's your plan for that?
Well, I think, and Coach has mentioned this a couple times, that one of the benefits of the revenue sharing experience is that we expect that it will reduce the spread, if you will, between the lowest spending schools and the highest spending schools. And so historically, I think the spread from the lowest to the highest has been north of $20 million. Now we think that spread will be more in the $3 to $4 million range. And so everybody sort of comes towards the center, which I think gives us a chance to compete at a really high level. If we have a chance to be on relatively equal footing from a financial perspective with our peers, because of the staff we've assembled, because of the players we have in the locker room, because of the facilities and the university and all the other things that we have to offer student athletes, we feel really strongly about the opportunity here at the University of Illinois, and I think it puts us in a really strong position to compete.
Have you seen, or do you expect increased donations for NIL after, a 9-win football season?
I would expect that. Yes, I would. Our fans have been incredibly supportive of this program, even at moments when that was not the most popular thing to do. In every setting that I get with them, I'm very quick to acknowledge that, because we have had so many people who have stepped forward in incredibly generous ways at moments when they didn't have to do that. And now that we're starting to see the benefits of some of that investment, I know that they're excited. I know that they're enthusiastic. And I think it gets back to my point earlier, where we have to fight against complacency. And so as we start to message to our donors, to our fans, our message is now is the time for us to accelerate. And as you look at our history, a lot of you are familiar with it. We've had some moments. We've been to the Sugar Bowl, we've been to the Rose Bowl, we've been to the Final Four. What we have struggled to do is to sustain that success. We've struggled to take advantage of that and use it as a springboard to even greater future success. And so now that is the entirety of our focus, is how can we take this success and use it to make something even greater in the years ahead, and that starts with investment. And so we're very fortunate to be having a lot of those conversations now, and expect that we'll see additional resources available to our programs in the months ahead.
In the last 50 years, there's 4 seasons that were like the big 4: 83, 89, 01, 07. 2 Rose Bowls, a Citrus Bowl, and a Sugar Bowl. For you personally, you just missed out on the Sugar Bowl. You graduated in 2000, Sugar Bowl in 2001.
Thanks,
We
Robert.
talked about that before. Is there any personal, satisfaction to chance of a 10-win season? You're in a different chair now, but is there any personal satisfaction to that?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's the only chair I get a chance to sit in now. I can't go back and sit in those chairs anymore. And one of the regrets of my life is that we didn't have more on-field success when I was a player. There was, from the day I committed to coming to the University of Illinois, there wasn't a day that went by that I didn't think about the Rose Bowl every day. And obviously it was a different time when the Rose Bowl was sort of in this place, and we weren't able to get there. And now in this chair, thankfully for my own mental health, it's a chance for me to channel that competitiveness in a different way. And now for us to be a part of a 9-win season, a chance to go win 10, to do some things that this program either hasn't done in a long time or has never done before, and to know that I had the opportunity to have some small hand in that means a lot to me. There's no question about that.
At all?
Josh, you ever be closer to a soccer coach?
Fair question. I hope to have some news on that maybe yet even this week.